Hull PC Guy here. Today I'm doing a video showing you the difference between a solid state hard drive and a mechanical hard drive. I'm going to take them apart, I'm going to show you the insides, I'm going to show you what a mechanical drive looks like when it's powered up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference in load times, access times and real world applications. I'm going to put a solid state drive and a mechanical drive into the same laptop with the same memory and everything else, and I'm going to show you the difference in the boot times and the application running times. This shows you what the difference an SSD can make to your machine. So you might find that using this video you might understand then why an SSD might actually be good for you. Older hardware or even newer hardware that uses mechanical drives is bottlenecked by its hard drive. So I'm going to show you today the difference, and I'm going to make you understand the choice that you can make to make your hardware faster. In front of us here are two hard drives. This is a solid state drive and this is a mechanical drive. Difference here is that I've taken the sticker off and I've already taken the screws out of both of these. This is already a faulty drive, so it doesn't matter that I've taken the lid off. But normally, if you take the top of a mechanical drive off, the drive will no longer be usable because they're made in a dust-free environment. I've got another drive here just to show you that they're exactly the same. It's just that I've taken the sticker off this one to get to the screws so that I can take it apart. So, let's first off have a look inside a mechanical drive. Inside here you will see a spinning platter, a drive arm that has the head on it, and the head is literally about no more than 0.3 of a millimeter away from the surface of the platter, which is a silver disc. Sometimes in this case it's a dual platter, but what happens here is that these platters spin and the head then, much like a record player, will spin across the surface of the drive, creating the contact with the platter, reading and writing to that metal disc. In here you'll notice that there's a lot of moving parts. There's the motor that spins the platter, there's the actuation arm on the head, as well as other smaller motors down here just keeping everything in line. This is why a mechanical drive is very sturdy but can be easily damaged either by dropping, shock, shaking or moving while this platter's spinning. So what you'll find is that laptops can sometimes act strangely because these drives can fail. So that's the inside of a mechanical drive. We'll just put that back on there. This is a 120 Kingston SSD. This is a SATA 3 SSD with read-write capability of around 400 to 500 megabytes per second. And you'll notice the second I open this that they're not actually that big on the inside. You can see that this is just a single PCB that's got some NAND chips on here, and these are just microchips. So these are non-moving, and on the other side you'll notice that again we've got two more NAND chips there, and then you've got the controller chip here. That's what does all of the hard work, that basically translates for the PC the information that's going to and from it and reading from these NAND chips or writing to them. So you can see that that SSD is just literally that tiny little PCB. And that's why these are a bit more sturdy, because these can be shook, they can be shocked. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can't run over it with a truck, but what you can do is you can give this thing a little bit more abuse than you can the mechanical drive. So that's the physical teardown. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some footage that I shot of the mechanical drive working, so that you can see what it looks like when it's spinning and the arm moving, And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some speed comparisons using a laptop it's a Pentium laptop with 4 gig of RAM, so it's a very basic laptop, and I'm going to boot it with this SSD and with this mechanical drive, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two. I've sped this up by 650%. The total time to boot on a mechanical drive took a little over 3.5 minutes. I even started typing in my password before the prompt even appeared. Even after it logged into Windows, it took a further good 20 seconds for the icons to appear on the taskbar, and then it was booted. This is the SSD in the laptop. I haven't sped this up, this is actual time. Here's the hard drive speed test for the mechanical drive. It's been sped up because it takes such a long time. This is the SSD speed test. It's not been sped up as much because it is a lot faster. The last drive that I've tested is an NVMe SSD, which is a completely different type of SSD. It's a newer type that runs much faster. This has a different connector, an M.2. I'm not going into too much detail here about them because that would be a whole new video. So this last screen is the comparison of the two speed tests for the hard drive and the SSD. The SSD is on the left and the hard drive is on the right. Not only can you see that in the MBS section, which is the speed, that the SSD is so much faster, but the other clear thing here, which makes the biggest amount of difference, is the IOPS, which is the input and outputs. And what these represent is the amount of data that can transfer concurrently, and the speed difference is generally generated by these IOPS. So you can see on the left we've got thousands, on the right we've barely got 100 or 200. Now this, alongside the response times, which you can see range on the hard drive from around 10 through to 95 to being less than 0.2s and less than 1 in most cases on the SSD. These make the biggest amount of difference because not only can you access files faster, but you can also move files and a lot more files at once, and that's why an SSD is so much more agile than a traditional mechanical hard drive. Well, thank you very much for watching this video today, and I hope that you've learned something from it. This is Hull PC Guy. Have a good one.